Have you ever wondered what the Nintendo Switch would be like if it was just better? Well, now you can. The Nintendo Switch 2 just launched and a lot of people are enjoying it, myself included. Well, some people at least. I say some people for a couple reasons. Reason one being, people just didn't pick it up. That makes sense. It's not for everybody. Some people would rather wait, hope it goes on sale, whatever. Reason two being, they just haven't gotten it yet. Whether they're waiting for it to ship or it's in transit now or you're one of the unlucky souls that the pre-order got canceled. And reason number three being that the internet is telling them not to enjoy it. I've seen a lot of discourse online recently regarding the Switch 2 coming from people that didn't even plan on getting the console in the first place. Everywhere you look, whether it's a tweet or a Reddit thread, especially TikTok comments, someone has to tell you how much they hate Nintendo or hate the console or how much they want you to hate the console. It is everywhere right now, and it's part of what comes with the enshittification of the internet. Enshittification is one of my favorite terms from the past couple years. Enshittification is a word that was first coined by Cory Doctorow and is used to describe the degradation of online platforms over time. You see this with the ever so popular subscription fees through various websites, lengthy terms and conditions from companies hoping that you don't read them so that they can get away with more, or any website that you're trying to read and it's just riddled with ads to the point you can't even read the story. Just this morning, I got a recommended story about enshittification online, and this was my view. All it is just ad with some story mixed in between, and it didn't even make me want a Miller Lite. The term was originally used for corporations and companies, but I think it can be used to describe social media as a whole these past couple years. With websites like Twitter, Reddit, and TikTok, you have the privacy to be able to say whatever you want with very little or zero repercussions. You see people attacking other people just because they can. And yes, that happens everywhere and every day in normal life, but online, people just do it just to do it. Let's get back on track for a minute. The Nintendo Switch 2 was announced on April 2nd after many online rumors and speculations with a pre-order date of April 24th. There were two versions announced for this pre-order date, one being the base Switch 2 console, which is $450, and the Switch 2 console with Mario Kart World, which is $500. One of the things you'll hear people commonly upset about is the price of Mario Kart World. You would think that it'd be close to $50 since the bundle is only $50 more than the base console. You would think that it might even be $60 since that's how much games have kind of been for about 10 to 15, close to 20 years. You would think it might be $70 since you see this price being a trend among AAA games recently. But no, the price is $80, which is insane for a Mario Kart game. Yes, I know Mario Kart World added a lot of things to the Mario Kart franchise, but I would argue that Mario Kart isn't worth $70 or even $60 in some cases. Games like Mario Kart don't have the substance of a game like Tears of the Kingdom or Cyberpunk for that matter. Sure, they might have the playability and longevity because Mario Kart's easy to just hop into a game and play, or it's easy to bust out at a party with a group of people, but I don't think that makes it worth $80, which is why I bought the bundle. I already knew that I was going to buy the Switch 2 at some point, and I already knew that I was going to buy Mario Kart at some point. I'm a big Mario Kart fan, so it made sense to me to buy the Mario Kart World bundle with the Switch 2. Plus, if I'm going to buy the Switch 2 and Mario Kart World, I might as well save $30 while doing so. There is something in my mind that can't help but think that if the game was $50 or $60, would it be riddled with microtransactions? The game already includes a ton of unlockable skins and characters and carts, but would those be behind a microtransaction paywall if the game was cheaper? I don't necessarily think so. I think Nintendo tries to stay away from the microtransaction side of things, and I can't think of any Nintendo game that at least comes to mind that features microtransactions in a heavy way. People will complain about the price of Mario Kart, and then they'd go around and spend $80 on Fortnite skins, and that's without buying the Battle Pass every season. I made this video because a lot of people are either making the same decision I did or already made the same decision I did, and that's to buy the Switch 2. Yet I see so much anger towards these people that are sharing what they're excited about. Be happy that you bought this console. Be happy that you can play Mario Kart World. Be happy that Pokemon finally runs stable on a Switch console. But don't attack people for having fun and enjoying themselves. This is where the enshittification comes back into play. People are making TikToks and tweets and Reddit posts and Blue Sky posts about how they're excited to play this new console, about how they're excited to play Mario Kart World. Yet people can't just let them enjoy it. Replies and comments ranging from people saying that you shouldn't have spent your money on the console, or people saying that you should have bought a Steam Deck or an ROG Ally. People making fun of them for spending their own money because Nintendo bad. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm defending Nintendo, because I'm not, because I agree with a lot of the points that people are saying, but attack Nintendo. Don't attack the people that are genuinely having fun with their new purchase. You're attacking the wrong people. I personally don't think the console itself is too expensive. I think people were expecting it to be around that $300 price tag that the original Switch was, but at the end of the day, the Switch 2 is more powerful than the Switch 1. So many people telling other people behind the curtain of anonymity that they shouldn't have wasted $450 to $500 on a Switch 2 when they could have just bought a PS5 or used it to upgrade their PC or bought a Steam Deck instead. Whether you'd like to believe it or not, there are people that only play Nintendo games. But you can't say that, because then all you hear is, oh, well, you know, you could just emulate that game on your PC, then you don't even have to pay for it. Are you serious? How do we go from people being angry at companies like Spotify for not paying their artists enough, yet they're okay with stealing the games that people worked hard to make? And I would be willing to bet money that the people that work at Nintendo care about the games that they make. I buy games obviously to play them, but I also buy them to support the artists and creators that made them. I have a pretty decent sized record collection, and I keep buying more, obviously to listen to, but to support the artists that make that music. Yes, I have Spotify because Spotify is easier to play in my car than a full 12-inch record, but I know that artists don't make anything from my Spotify streams, so I buy albums. I have a modded 3DS that I play games from questionable sources, but if I could still buy them, I would. Hell, I still browse the 3DS section at local game stores, even if I can get a free version that I don't even have to pay for. It's the same way I feel about consoles, especially the Switch and Switch 2. I can appreciate the people, however, that do buy the actual copy of the game to offload onto their PC to emulate that way. The best thing so far is that the Switch 2 seems like a really nice console from my experience and other people's experience. From the Mario Kart World that I've played to the Switch 1 games that I've played a little bit of just to see how they ran, everything ran incredibly well, and it's really fun. Menus in games and the eShop load incredibly fast compared to the Switch 1. I was a little worried with the Joy-Cons, with them being magnetic and not slide in like the Switch 1, but there's a little trigger on the back. You pull that trigger and it just clicks off. It's magnetic. It seems to be really solid. It takes a lot to just pull. Obviously, they encourage you to pull that trigger, but this whole console feels really solid, especially compared to the Switch 1 when even the Joy-Cons were docked. They still wiggled a little bit. I've only used the mouse feature when it was actively trying to tell me to during the first initial setup. I don't play any games that use that feature. There aren't a whole lot of games right now that use that feature in the first place. I think Fortnite doesn't even allow it yet until a day or two from now. Maybe in the future it's a really cool idea. Just to me, it really doesn't have any use right now. If someone's on the fence about whether they should upgrade their Switch to the Switch 2, I don't think it necessarily needs to happen unless you're dying to play Donkey Kong Bonanza or Mario Kart World. Mario Kart World is great. I love it so far, but I don't think it's enough to justify upgrading at this moment. Now, if you have a year one Switch, maybe think about it. I bet that thing's probably getting a little slow. Now, the Switch 1 is still going to be getting games from the Switch 2 for a while, unless it's a game like Mario Kart that is specifically for the Switch 2. Pokemon ZA is coming out on the Switch 1 and the Switch 2, so I don't think you necessarily need to upgrade right away. With how great the screen is on the Switch 2, I'm kind of excited for the possible Switch 2 Lite that will probably come out in a year or two. I know a lot of people that had the Switch Lite really liked it, but to me it always looked cheap, so hopefully with the Switch 2's design it builds a more robust version. I do agree with the argument that the Switch 2 essentially is a Switch Pro, but that's all it needed to be. It needed to lock in that formula that made the Switch 1 good and expand on that to make it great. And guess what? When there's a Pro console, typically the Pro console costs more than the base model. The PS5 starts at $450 unless you want the version with the disc drive, and then it's $500. The PS5 Pro is $200 more. Unless you want the disc drive, then it's another $80. I don't know about you, but if it's a Pro console, I think it should come with all the options that are available included in the unit. It seems so weird to me that you're buying a PS5 Pro and you don't even get the console attachment that goes onto it. I think it would sit better with me if the PS5 Pro didn't even have a discless option and just had a disc version that was $750. The Switch 2 starts at $450, while the Switch 1 starts at $300, but was released in 2017. Adjusted for inflation, that $300 from 2017 is $394.74. Is it really worth the effort to argue with people online about how they're wasting their money when in reality it's only a $50 difference? And it's a better version of the console? People want you to hate the Switch 2 because they hate the Switch 2. The people saying that Nintendo is doomed because this console is going to sell really bad, or they're just calling it the Wii U 2 all over again, I realize is very small. It's just the vocal minority of people that hate it, but it's clear by just being in the internet gaming space right now that it is a very loud vocal minority. You don't hear people shouting from the rooftops about how much they love it because they're playing the console. Yes, people are saying all over the internet how much they like it and how well it's running the games, but no one is going out of their way to force their opinions on you like these boycotters are doing. It kind of makes me think of that meme of the guy that's eating pizza in his car with the caption at the top, "Little Caesars tastes so good when you ain't got a bitch in your ear telling you it's nasty." That's where more of that enshittification comes back into play. Negativity gets clicks, and social media is all about clicks these days. If someone can put in the title of their video, "The Switch 2 is a terrible console, here's why you shouldn't buy," people would be more tempted to click on that compared to the "I love my Switch 2, it's amazing" video. And if I'm being completely honest, I would probably click on the first one over the second one. I know I like the Switch 2. Why doesn't this person like the Switch 2? And guess what? I bet most of the people that are making videos about the Switch 2 and complaining about it probably pre-ordered one. I don't think you need to convince people that it's not good. Most people assumed the Switch 2 was going to be good. This was the most hyped handheld release ever. Hell, the Switch 1 was okay at best, and it sold over 152 million units worldwide. Now, I 100% agree with the people that say to vote with your wallets, and I absolutely respect that decision, whether it's with the Switch 2 or anything else in life, but we let you do it. Why not let us do it? The people that are buying the Switch 2 voted with their wallets by buying the console they are currently enjoying. I encourage you to vote with your wallet. If you don't agree with Nintendo's pricing or Nintendo's business decisions, then let them know about it. Stop attacking the people that are having fun. And to the people that bought the Switch 2 or plan on buying the Switch 2, don't listen to the people that are fueled by their hatred to make you hate something you love. You can make this argument for anything, really. Quit attacking people that are having fun as long as it's not hurting anybody. But the Switch 2 is relevant, and I keep seeing the backlash and the forced boycotting online, which led me to make this video. Plus, I needed something to do while charging my Switch 2 from only playing half an hour of Mario Kart World.